everyone, and welcome again to another episode of Detroit Comics Weekly. My name is Lee Gaddis.
And I'm Miles Van Meter.
So Miles, what's your pick of the week?
My pick of the week is We Stand on Guard, number 6. It's the last issue in this miniseries written by Brian K. Vaughan. And it follows the United States government has invaded Canada for its water supply, kind of like a message on imperialism. But it's really ultra-violent and it's really smart. It's what I expect from Brian K. Vaughan, who's written Y the Last Man and is currently on Paper Girls and the fan favorite Saga.
Yeah, it's also a good timely pick because of the climate summit that just happened in Paris. And water is a big issue about who has access to it, and sea levels rising and people being completely wiped out. So, good pick.
Yeah.
My pick of the week is Strange Fruit by J.G. Jones and Mark Waid. I know the original issue got a lot of heat because of the fact that it's two white guys writing about racism, but people need to go stuff it because white people can write about racism too, because it happens to everybody, and if you have an experience with it, you understand it, you should be able to write about it. That's like saying that writers shouldn't write about women, or we wouldn't have Wonder Woman if that wasn't the case. So people can write outside their genre and their ethnicity as long as they have an authentic voice and it doesn't insult the people that they're writing about. So I think it's a good time. And I think that white people can experience racism and talk about it through a black perspective. To Kill a Mockingbird is another good example of that. So Strange Fruit, it's not too late to jump on the bandwagon and get a hold of that. So that's my pick of the week. Also, with all the police shootings that's going on, you don't have to go back to the 1920s to experience racism and be willing to do something about it right now, today. Okay. So with that, we have also with Jessica Jones, which got released, which is really weird because I've been watching it in blocks of 4, and it got released all the episodes at once on Netflix because that's how Netflix.
Does it.
Yeah. So I've been watching it in blocks of 4, and Luke Cage has come on the scene, and I think that the story that they're wrapping up with the Purple Man and what's going on in the relationship, and I really like the way they're handling it. I'm not cheesed out by the relationship that's developing and her motivations. I really like what they've done with that character on TV, and I'm really enjoying it. And it's really short because most of the Netflix shows are 26 episodes, and for some reason this is only 13 episodes long.
Really? I thought they were only about 13. Isn't Daredevil only 12? Or?
I don't know why they're shortchanging Marvel then, because I know if you look at other shows like Game of Thrones on HBO is short too, but if you look at other shows like House of Cards, that's 22 or 24 episodes.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So the other shows that they've done that way, they released them all, have been really long, but maybe they didn't think that Daredevil or Jessica Jones were gonna hit as well, so they hedged their bets by making shorter episodes.
Yeah.
But I think that Marvel has been batting 100 on this. They've been doing really good with their TV shows and their movies. They have a good creative staff over there and good source material to pull from.
Definitely.
I
kind of wish that Luke Cage had the tiara though.
Yeah, I guess if it was the 1970s, you could roll with it. Because it was all kind of crazy shit going on. In the 70s when it was written.
Fro? Yeah. No, I love it.
Yeah.
So I love that.
I
hope they have flashbacks to a young Luke Cage and he's rocking.
But he wouldn't have his powers then. See, they have to modernize it. The problem is that you have 50 years of material to pull from, and you have to modernize it for a modern audience. And I think that's one of the pitfalls that comic books fall into, because they're written and they're printed at the time and they're stuck in that time, right, forever.
Oh yeah.
So you have to refresh it for a new audience every 15, 20 years or so to bring it up to modern expectations. And Luke Cage is just one of those that they've had trouble with doing that, because Marvel for a long time didn't have a lot of black writers on staff and couldn't speak from a voice of authenticity when it comes to gay and lesbian characters, and when it comes to handling characters outside of that mainstream culture. And I think by people that are coming in having broader experiences, having different experiences, that's able to make it more realistic with people who of today's generation really want to see that. They really want that coming out in a way that makes them more accountable to their audience. You know, makes the writers more accountable, makes the artists more accountable. And I think that Marvel is one of the few mainstream media companies that is actually embracing that in their staff. You know, so if you look at Miss Marvel and the way they've handled that, they moved Captain Marvel is female, Miss Marvel is still female, and her writer coming from that background and being able to speak with that authentic voice. You know, I think that becomes really, really important. So I think that the way they've handled that is really good.
I agree.
Okay, so what else do we got?
We wanted to talk about the X-Men trailer.
Oh, the new X-Men trailer dropped this week, guys. Yeah. So, Age of Apocalypse, I don't expect that to be anything like the comic book.
I think it will. I think it's going to borrow a lot from the comics, but they're definitely going to take their creative liberties and move things around. Obviously,
I don't think it's going to be an Age of Apocalypse story. I think it's going to be I think it's Age of Apocalypse will be in it, but it won't have that same storyline.
Oh no, you're right. I think it's going to be more like the Fall of the Mutants storyline.
Yeah, more the Fall of the Mutants storyline.
Right.
And the Four Horsemen, I think, are going to be Angel, Magneto, Storm, and Nightcrawler. Who do you think they're going to be?
No, yeah, that's what it looks like. I heard that there's supposed to be like a reshoot with Wolverine. And the rumor is that Wolverine is going to make it. I don't know if it's just going to be a cameo or like.
Probably because Wolverine only has one more movie, and Hugh Jackman is going to be replaced as Wolverine.
Yeah,
he's getting up in his 50s now.
Right.
So, and I think they're also going to be replacing Tony Stark as Iron Man too. So there's a lot of characters that are aging out of there.
You think they recast, or I think like these actors have been cemented as the characters. I think that they just kill them off or find a way to write around it.
So will Rhodey become Iron Man?
I think
he's
so.
Not much younger.
Or they'll find a way to do it. I think
so. Maybe he'll go through a portal and come back as a younger Tony Stark.
Who knows?
With the same mind.
Yeah, they'll find a weird way to write in that it's still Tony Stark or that it's.
Because I also think that
I don't think they would just find another actor, even though they've done that before. But with minor characters, like with Rhodey, they did that with
they recast it because
But I feel like Tony Stark is. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
Yeah, but nobody thought of Robert Downey Jr. being Tony Stark before he was cast as Tony Stark.
Yeah, but once they saw it, it was. Did anyone expect Iron Man to be a huge hit before it came out? I don't.
No, because he was a third-rate character.
Right. But it was now he's like. He is
the same thing as Wolverine. I mean, people were like, "Oh my God, Wolverine's too tall." Go back to the original articles about Wolverine. People hated Hugh Jackman as Wolverine.
Nobody even knew who Hugh Jackman was. They're like, "Who is this guy? He's Australian." Yeah, exactly. Or he had done like some Australian TV and movies over there, like indie flicks. Yeah, no one even knew who he was. But he was casted perfectly, and he's been Wolverine for 15 years.
I think that once he's replaced, and a new movie comes out, that all the hubbub will settle down. You have two camps: some people that hate it, and some people like it, as people always do.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just the nature of fandom, and I think that, like I said, these actors have to just age out the roles, and they recast all the new X-Men so they could do just that, right? You have a young Jean Grey, you have a young Cyclops, you have a younger Nightcrawler. But that doesn't displace those old actors. If they wanted a time travel story, you have the old actors to pull from as their older selves, and the younger actors as their younger selves. And I think they don't need to reboot it because you still have to go into Infinity War. So and I think that Captain America's going to die and he'll get replaced by Bucky. I think they'll use that story, right? Because the actor that plays Captain America wants to go start directing.
Yeah.
You know, he hasn't really flourished the way other people have, but I think they have an outlet. So will fandom be upset when they recast? Yes.
I just don't see Marvel recasting for a while. I think that they're going to find a way to just kill the characters off and introduce new ones. I feel like that's what it looks like Marvel is going to do. Yeah, they're going to introduce all these new characters that they've created.
Yeah, they'll introduce some, but and they could just move away from that storyline, right? I mean, or change the lineup to a younger lineup in Phase 4 and 5.
I mean, it makes sense that they found a really young actor to play Spider-Man, and for him to be really young. Like
because they need 15 years of acting out of him.
exactly. They're gonna make sure that Spider-Man is like a cornerstone to the Marvel Cinematic Universe for a really long time.
Yeah. So and I think that the price for these actors each time they re-sign them goes up and up and up, and I think that's going to force them casting new actors the same way that TV shows. The only person that's got around that is Game of Thrones, because their guys get killed off, so they don't have to recast. They have to recast them all the time. But I think when you get an actor in and he stays on a role for 15 or 20 years, he just prices himself out of the market because you can't make the movie, for a reasonable price and make a profit back on it. That's what I think.
So X-Men was not the only trailer that came out this week.
Yeah, and if you're Ninja Turtles fans, if you're a fan of the '90s and are into that, I don't know. Nobody that I know went to go see the first
I haven't seen it.
Turtles movies.
I still haven't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd heard such terrible things. I just avoided it.
Was it that bad? Did you hear bad things about it? Did you know people that went to go see it that said it was bad?
Yeah, they like Turtles fans and non-Turtles fans, both alike, both said that the movie was.
But
awful.
still, there's a number 2 coming out.
Yeah, I don't know how that happens.
So
But
there's that.
I don't think that a lot of people complain about trivial things. Like somebody was telling me that the special effects look bad. I think the special effects look fine. I think they actually look really good for what it's supposed to be. But I just think it looks really dumb. Like it doesn't look smart at all, and it doesn't look interesting. Like it doesn't catch me.
Well,
even though I'm a huge Turtles fan, as
yeah.
far as like the comic books
And you watch the cartoon.
and the old cartoon from when I was a kid, I loved it.
Okay.
I'm a huge, even the old movies, like
And
that
you-
first
and you were
Turtles
looking
movie, I
forward to
love it. To the old Turtles, to the
No,
new Turtles?
were you looking forward to the movie before you heard it was bad?
A little bit, but when I remember seeing the trailer and thinking it looked weird, and then when I was told that it was bad, I don't know, I avoided it, and I just never got around to seeing it.
Okay. So, do you think that the second movie might have a chance of you going to see it and it might be better?
See, every time I've thought that with other franchises,
Right.
I've been disappointed. So when Ghost Rider came out with Nicolas Cage, it was awful. And then when the sequel came out, they had a different creative team on it, and a team that I had trusted. That they did the Crank movies, which I really enjoyed. And Ghost Rider 2 sucked. It was a little bit better, but it sucked. And then Fantastic Four, when they made the sequel to that one.
Yeah, but
That movie, I had high expectations. I go,
Is
maybe
that the
they'll
same
fix
studio?
it.
The same is that Fox?
Same studio, but it was a different creative team.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, all right, maybe a new direction, it'll be better.
Right.
That movie was even worse than the first Fantastic Four movie.
Wow.
And I want to say that there was another franchise that they tried doing this with, and I just feel like every time that this happens... Oh, with the Aliens vs. Predator franchise.
Oh,
I remember
my
the first
God.
movie was awful, and then when I had read things about the sequel, AVP Requiem, I thought that it was going to be better. I had such high hopes. I go, wow, they were talking about... they were comparing it to like Aliens, which I love.
But it was just bad.
The James Cameron one, and it was way worse. It was way worse than the first one. It made the first one look like a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like, this second movie, maybe it'll be better. Maybe they'll fix everything that was wrong with the first movie, even though I can't even vouch because I haven't seen the first movie. But I have a feeling it's just going to be bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have the good thing from that is that the Arrow is
Stephen Amell plays Casey Jones, which he's like
cast talent.
He's a fan favorite character.
Yeah.
Everybody loves Casey Jones. But I've also heard some people not liking the casting choice for Stephen Amell as Casey Jones. However, people love him as the Green Arrow in the show Arrow on the CW.
If you like Arrow.
Yeah.
I have a hard time following it.
I have a hard time really getting into that show too.
Yeah.
It just kind of seems like a cheap Batman.
Yeah, and unlike the Arrow, I like the Flash. The Flash is good, and maybe it's more science-y, and maybe it has more fantastic special
I
effects
think
on it.
it's not afraid to be
The Flash,
a little lighthearted and fun.
like the comic book.
Yeah, and I feel like Arrow. I feel like people they mix because it's dark. It's good, and I don't think that's necessarily the case. Like the Flash is still smart, and it's still fun and good and entertaining, but it's not super dark. I mean, it has its dark moments, but
Yeah.
they save those for certain times. It's
Right.
for the most part, every character is likable and it's just, but it's not a dumb show by any means.
Right.
Yeah.
So not talking down to your audience is a good way to make your show successful. And you have Supergirl. You have almost the makings of Young Justice going on.
I heard that the Flash is going to make a cameo in Supergirl at some point this season. But
And I like the whole Earth 2 aspect of the Flash 2. Where you can,
oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
They introduced Jay Garrick as the other Flash. That's really cool.
Yeah, and you have Atom Smasher, and you have was Supergirl originally an Earth 2 character?
No.
No, she was Earth 1. Okay, so there's your intro for DC Comics not doing so good on the big screen. You got Batman, Superman, which we talked about last week. Releasing everything, just totally messed up the bed on that one. But hopefully the TV shows are doing better. If you're a fan of Supergirl and The Flash and Arrow, could you do us a comparison of The Flash and Arrow and Supergirl in the comments below? We appreciate it. I'm Lee Gaddis, and this has been, and
I'm Miles Van Meter.
And this has been Detroit Comics Week.